Live from downtown Spokane and streaming on KXLY Plus, this is 4 News Now's special coverage of Election Day 2020.
Good morning, and thank you so much for tuning into this special Election Day coverage streaming live on KXLY Plus. I'm Robin Nance.
And I'm Derek Dias. It is the last day to make your vote count, and we want to make sure you feel prepared to take on the days ahead. As you know, just like everything else in 2020, this election is already unlike anything we've ever seen before. So let's start with a look at what we do know this morning. In Spokane County, more than 71% of registered voters have returned their ballots so far. Across the border in Kootenai County, nearly 60% have already cast their vote.
And this election is a big one for local politics. Several leadership positions and some big referendums are on the ballot. The race for Washington's governor pits incumbent Jay Inslee against Republican Sheriff Lauren Culp. Inslee is seeking his third term. The candidates differ on several issues, with the highest profile clash being over the pandemic. Culp has been critical of Inslee's policies and says he would rescind all mandates and open the state on day one. Inslee has a sizable lead in all polls. In Washington's 5th District, Representative Kathy McMorris Rogers is seeking her 9th term in office. She's been considered a safe bet for Republicans in recent years. Her Democratic challenger, Dave Wilson, managed just 24% of the vote in the primaries. Washington's Referendum 90 requires school districts to provide comprehensive sex ed. It's something most districts in the state are already doing, but there is strong conservative opposition to the bill. And Kootenai County voters will decide on a proposed $50 vehicle registration fee to help pay for construction projects that would improve traffic flow and congestion throughout the county. Again, we will bring you updates on these races and all the others starting tonight after 8 o'clock when the numbers start coming in.
Well, democracy starts with you and a ballot. Maybe you've already returned yours, but what happens after that first step? 4 News Now's Caitlin Knapp gives us a behind-the-scenes look at how your ballot is processed.
This is the heartbeat of a vote by mail.
The sound of election season. Your ballot journey starts here at the Spokane County Elections Office.
Everything goes through these doors right here.
This is the center of it all.
This is the heart of the operation.
Your ballot will go through the sorter first.
It captures the image on the outside of the envelope, so the voter's barcode and the voter's signature.
From there, it's separated by district and goes into these trays. A worker compares your signature to what they have in the system. If everything checks out,
those trays are going to go back through, and it's going to sort it out by precinct code and if a signature matches or not.
Then workers will open your envelope.
The bottom of the envelope has been opened, and now she's pulling the security envelope out. So these are all signatures that have been verified and have passed.
Once your ballot is taken out,
that ballot's completely anonymous now. So when we open that security envelope, there's no name anywhere close.
Workers will check to make sure the computer can read the ballot.
It's scanning both sides of the ballot. It's not counting the votes, it's just making an image. That's all it's doing.
If your ballot can't be read, say because you made a change, then 2 people will have to check it before it's counted. But to be clear, your choices aren't counted just yet.
We're not counting the votes. We can't count those votes until 8 p.m. on election night.
And there you have it. That's the life of your ballot.
And when it gets to us, you've seen the process. It's safe, it's secure. Your vote will be counted.
So in order for your ballot to start its journey, you need to have it in a drop box or put it in the mail by Election Day at 8 o'clock. Reporting in Spokane, Caitlin Knapp, 4 News Now.
Pretty interesting to see that whole journey. 100 million Americans have already cast their ballots, but none of them actually voted directly for the president. That's because of the Electoral College system in the United States. Voters cast their votes for electors, who in turn cast their votes for president. So how does this system work exactly? The college is made up of 538 electors from the 50 states and the District of Columbia. Each state gets as many electoral votes as it has members of Congress. So Washington gets 12, Idaho 4. To win the White House, the candidate must get at least half of that total plus 1, or 270 total electoral votes. The Electoral College is known to be a winner-takes-all kind of system. That's because the winner of the popular vote in each state gets all of the state's electoral votes, except in Maine and Nebraska. So here are some key states to watch today as the results start to roll in. President Trump's best route to 270 Electoral College votes hinges on winning both Florida and Pennsylvania. If he wins those two states and is able to hold on to North Carolina, Arizona, Georgia, and Ohio, he'll win. With 29 electoral votes, Florida is arguably the most crucial state for President Trump. A loss there, though, would make it nearly impossible for him to win back the White House. Joe Biden's campaign is laser focused on the states in the Midwest that Trump flipped in 2016. Those are Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. He's also making a big play for Arizona, a state that has not backed a Democratic presidential candidate since 1996.
At two candidates, two very different visions for America. After months on the campaign trail, President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden are handing it over to voters to finish the job.
Will it be a rejection of the Trump presidency or a stamp of approval, giving him 4 more years in the White House? ABC's Faith Abube is watching the presidential race and joins us from D.C. now with the latest.
Former Vice President Joe Biden coming into Election Day ahead in most polls.
Can you hear me? Yeah!
Starting his day stumping with members of the local carpenters union in his hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania. But even this morning, his campaign taking no chances.
It's time for Donald Trump to pack his bags and go home. We're done.
Yesterday, his campaign barnstorming the battlegrounds of Pennsylvania and Ohio.
We can put an end to a president that has failed to protect this nation.
After a long and bitter campaign season, Biden finishing with a message of hope, but still attacking the president for his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We're going to beat this virus. We're going to get it under control. And the first step to beating this virus is beating Donald Trump.
In a new internal memo obtained by the Washington Post, White House Task Force Coordinator Dr. Deborah Birx saying we're entering the most concerning and the most deadly phase of this pandemic. But at a closing rally in Michigan, President Trump with a vastly different message.
That ends the pandemic. And it will end anyway. They hate it when I say we're rounding the corner. It's going to end anyway, but the vaccine will make it go a lot quicker.
Trump calling into Fox News this morning, projecting confidence that he'll win.
I don't know what the chances are. I don't know how they rate the chances, but I think we have a very solid chance of winning. And I think a lot of that has to do with the tremendous crowd size.
While also grappling with the thought of losing.
The concept of losing to this guy. Oh, you better get out there and vote tomorrow. I will be so angry. I'll never come back.
New numbers from the U.S. Elections Project show out of nearly 100 million early votes cast, 47.9% were Democrats and 41.8% Republicans. Trump's campaign banking on a huge Election Day turnout to win. Voters, meanwhile, ready for the final count.
And one thing about record turnout is that it's good for democracy, but someone has to count those votes. Election experts telling ABC News they expect it to take longer than usual for the final results to come in. Faith Abube, ABC News, Washington.
Well, closer to home now, the Spokane Arena has been open for several hours now as a voter services location.
If you need help with anything related to voting, the Spokane County Elections Office will be there at the arena to help you until 8 o'clock tonight. Destiny Richards is live, also at the arena. What's it looking like there?
Yeah, the number that we know as of right now is 590. That's how many people that have been seen as of just before 11 a.m. Before 10 o'clock, it was 415. So lots of people are coming here to get things taken care of on their ballot, to get registered to vote. The process is really simple. Lines are forming, but there are people here to help you every step of the way. Behind me at the front of the Spokane Arena, you come in, someone gives you a form, you fill it out to register to vote. If you need a ballot, an envelope, envelope. You turn it in and you come to these stations behind me. If you need an accessible voting unit, that's also here as well. Take a look at the room just to the right of me here. There's voting stations. If you need to fill out that new ballot here, or if you have a disability, this is where you do it. And right outside of this room is where you would turn in your ballot. So again, people are here to help you every step of the way. Right where you turn in the ballot, there's a person asking, did you sign it before you turn it in? So a really easy process going here. Again, the Spokane Arena does close at 8 p.m. That's when everyone needs to get their ballots in. They expect 3,000 people, 3,000 to come here today. So the earlier, the better, of course.
Yeah, and Destiny, you've been there throughout the morning. I mean, even before the doors open and there was a line. Is it, I'm assuming, a pretty steady flow of people?
Yeah, it was pretty steady. Of course, earlier this morning, there was people just trickling in, but there was a space just to the right where people could come and line up. There was social distancing if there was more people coming in, and people are now lining up in that space. There are lines forming now. So again, it's just after 11 o'clock, and they're going to be open until 8. So make sure you get in to get whatever you need taken care of.
Yeah. Okay, Destiny.
We should also mention Center Place Regional Event Center in the Valley is another voter services center today.
Yeah, and across the border in North Idaho this morning, take a look at this. This is a live look at the Kootenai County Elections Office. These ballot cameras will be recording all night as votes come in. The county elections office is ready to count. And if you still need a vote to be counted in North Idaho, you still have some time. Your polls are open until 8 tonight.
But before you head out, there are a few things to keep in mind. Our Katerina Christofis joins us from the Kootenai County Elections Office. Now, good morning, Katerina.
Good morning. Yeah, it's been a very steady flow of people. Already 8,000 people have come in person to cast their ballots. Over 103,000 registered voters are in Kootenai County. Just take a look at what's going on here. Interestingly enough, I'm surprised that there are just so many people voting in person because 39,000 absentee ballots have already been sent in. 9,000 people
Well, darn, some technical issues there, North Idaho.
We'll try to get back to Katerina in just a couple of minutes.
For sure. Oh, for nearly 2 months, we have been asking you what you wanted to know heading into this election. Our team has been getting you those answers in our For the People coverage.
All right, so we put out one last call, and this question caught our attention. It asked, what's a fun story about voting in the Northwest? So our Neil Wong looked into it.
While the Evergreen State and Gem State gained their statehood relatively late on the timeline of American history, Washington being only the 42nd state and Idaho the 43rd, we've been ahead of the curve when it comes to voting laws. We'll start with Washington. 2020 marks 100 years since the 19th Amendment was ratified. That change in our Constitution gave women the right to vote. But really, our country was playing catch-up to Washington, where women have been allowed to vote since 1910. So this year technically marks 110 years of ladies exercising their right to vote. Washington was the 5th state in the country to do so. Now, when it comes to vote by mail, the pandemic has had some states scrambling to give this option to their voters, but not in the Evergreen State. Washington voters jumped straight into mail-in voting back in 2005, making Washington the 2nd state in the country to lead the charge. In Idaho, the ghost of prohibition past has been hanging over the Gem State. That is, up until 2008. That's the year Idaho legislature repealed the Blue Law. The 1939 rule banned alcohol sales on Election Day. According to the Distilled Spirits Council of the United States, Idaho is the 42nd state to kick alcohol bans on Election Day. That was 12 years ago. The fight continues tonight in Libby, Montana. Though Big Sky Country isn't part of the inland Northwest, it's still part of our viewing area. The Western News reports Libby City Council voted to change a ban on selling, handling, and delivering alcohol on Election Day, a clause that's been buried in a business license application law since 1976. A second hearing is scheduled for tonight, and if approved, it still won't make the deadline. This change wouldn't begin until 30 days later.
Hopefully you're stocked up if you live in Libby then.
Yes.
You might need it tonight. Well, unlike the political climate, today's weather forecast looks to be somewhat calm.
And whether you are hitting the polls or mailing in your ballot, it'll be important to know what the weather is doing. And Mark Peterson joins us with your Election Day forecast.
All right, in our first alert weather, really, today is going to be rather mild. We're going to get rain showers and temperatures this afternoon in the 50s. We're still cool right now. We have a low cloud deck, and we haven't had that sun that's going to warm things up. So it'll come. It'll happen. All right, the four things to know as we get into this today is the afternoon showers. Temperatures are going to be mild statewide, looking pretty good, above average, really. A little warmer for tomorrow, and then we're going to see those showers coming in Thursday and Friday, just as you're making your plans. Right now, we're sitting at 40 degrees, so we've warmed up a bit. We're out of the fog zone, 36, the dew point humidity at 86%. We did have some deep fog this morning and a fog advisory. That's been allowed to pass. Still a little bit of fog over into Coeur d'Alene at 41 degrees. Could slow you up a little bit, but it shouldn't be too bad. Things have been looking better and better, every 15, 20 minutes. Now, let's take a look at what's going on around the nation. Some elections over the years have been very affected by the weather. Right now, about 90% of the country is under fair skies, looking pretty good. Some of the worst weather up into Seattle with heavy rain showers. Showers coming into Utah. They're scattered rain showers. And then we go up into New England. That's going to be sort of a mark for people from New York all the way up to Maine. They're going to see some snow. So we'll take you around and show you what's going on. Palm Springs, California, blue sky, beautiful day today. These are live looks. Marquette, Michigan, Milwaukee, looking great. Look at it. It's going to be nice, sunny. You can see the rays of sunshine coming in through the lens. Beautiful. But we take a look at what's going on in New England. Here's a shot at Lake Placid, New York. And they have gotten snow over the past 24 hours. More snow in upstate New York, again, pushing into Maine, and that could slow some people or keep them away from the polls. Right now, though, it's not horrible. The lake effect snows yesterday onto the east slopes of the Great Lakes has, for the most part, been worked on all night long, and they're looking pretty good. Temperatures are going to warm up. We're going to see Florida in beautiful shape statewide. Throughout the Midwest, temperatures in the 60s and 70s. Montana's going to be beautiful, and we're going to see, again, warmer temperatures, although wind chills into New England. So we now see where some of the worst weather is in the West. It's here, and it is starting in Seattle onto the West Coast and going to start making its way towards us. And those are going to bring those afternoon showers that we're expecting to see anywhere between 1 and 2 o'clock. We see them loading out through the Cascades, some heavier ones. You see the pink, rain, snow mixed. Those are some of the higher elevations, some of those protected valleys, still with the cool air. We're going to see that come in. It will be rain in the form of what we'll be seeing. So the 24-hour forecast, there we go. There's the rain showers. By 5 o'clock, they're going to be tapering off, continuing to move into parts of Idaho. And that's going to be maybe snow into the mountains, but that's it. 60 for our high today, 49 Deer Park, and 55. So plan on, again, some wet afternoon weather for us, and then it's going to be warmer, then cooling Thursday, Friday with some scattered showers. Today, the weather should not impact voting.
That is some good news. Hey, this is just some advice. Don't bother staying up all night for results, unless, of course, you want to. Millions of votes have already poured in across the country. That doesn't necessarily mean they've been counted. That's for a number of reasons. The increase in ballots has Washington preparing to tabulate votes for days, and this is a state that's used to vote by mail. Many other states are embracing that voting option for the first time. Each state has its own rules when it comes to when it can count ballots. For a good chunk of the U.S., that won't even start until after polls close tonight. In Idaho, the legislature just changed its law to start processing ballots before Election Day, and it will have to handle in-person voting as well. This will be the 6th presidential election for Spokane County Auditor Vicki Dalton. She says the elections office is expecting lots of last-minute ballots.
Election night, just go to bed, don't worry about it. And probably on Friday, possibly even into the next week, before the results contain most of the ballots that will be tabulated.
Election experts expect only 8 states to have at least 98% of unofficial results reported by noon tomorrow. So we may not know. Well, the polls are open, of course, and the lines are growing in North Idaho.
All right, we're going to check back in with Katarina Krasofis live in Kootenai County. And Katarina, almost 8,000 people in the county have already voted today.
Yeah, no, it's pretty impressive, actually. This line has been steady all throughout the day ever since we got here. There are 103 registered voters in Kootenai County, and just take a look for yourself. A lot of people here casting their votes. But the interesting thing is 39,000 absentee ballots were already casted, 9,000 people voted early. So just to give you an idea that this is still pretty steady despite the influx of absentee ballots. Experts projected 50% of votes would be mailed in this election. Nearly 60% have actually casted their votes, so they surpassed that 50% projection. Here's what you need to know, though. If you haven't voted yet, you still have time. You must go to your assigned precinct in order to cast your vote. You cannot go to the elections office to do this if you're a registered voter. All you need to do is show up. If not, you need to bring your ID and proof that you've lived in the county for at least 30 days. Expect long lines, like I mentioned, pretty steady throughout the day. It's starting to slow down just a bit, but we are seeing people in and out. So the earlier you get here, the better. You have to be in line by 8 p.m. for your vote to count. If you have an absentee ballot, it has to be at the elections department by that same time, so 8 o'clock tonight. If you want to find your polling place, just go to kcgov.us. That's where it will tell you where you need to go in order to cast your vote. Another one of the big things on this election is the Kootenai Sheriff's race. There are 3 candidates right now: Robert Norris, Mike Bauer, and Justin Nigel. They're all Republicans, just running under different parties. They're replacing Ben Wolfinger, who's retiring after serving since 2013. Interestingly enough, both Norris and Bauer are both from Southern California, both worked for the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office for several decades. Nigel is the only candidate who's from Kootenai County. He actually has no law enforcement experience. He worked as a private investigator since 2003. So just a lot to keep in mind during this election. Another big topic of discussion is the vehicle registration fee increase. Now, this would be a $25 increase for motorcycles or terrain vehicles, $50 for all other vehicles weighing less than 8,000 pounds. Now, all of these fees will be used for road improvements, including Interstate 90 and Highway 95. So just a lot to consider on this ballot, but really influx all throughout the day. If you want your vote to count, make sure that you get here before 8 o'clock tonight.
Katerina, thanks so much. And, any idea how long it's taking voters to get through the polling location? I saw somebody on Twitter just recently said it took them an hour to go through the line in Post Falls.
Interesting. Well, here, actually, funny enough, people were saying that they were getting through in like 10 to 15 minutes. So I really think it just depends on which location that you're at. Yeah. But here, it's been very steady, but not actually as busy as like you mentioned. But over here, it just, very, very consistent, but not too long, actually. So some good news there.
All right.
And I bet that lunch hour is going to be really hectic, too. People
sure.
got a lunch break.
Here's another look at that ballot camera in the Kootenai County Elections Office. It'll be recording all day as the votes continue to come in. You can actually check that out on YouTube if you like.
Yeah, and we're also going to put it on links to our website as well, because there are other counties also doing it. Mm-hmm. It's really cool to see. Back here in Spokane, the arena will be open again until 8 o'clock tonight as a voter services location.
All ballots must be returned by that time, so if you have any last-minute questions or concerns, you can get it all taken care of at the Spokane Arena. Let's check back in with Destiny Richards now, who is live, and I think you have a special guest with you.
Yes, we do. All morning we've been telling you and showing you what's going on at the Spokane Arena, but let's hear from the woman behind it all herself, Vicki Dalton, the Spokane County Auditor. 590 people already. Did you expect to have this many people? What's it like?
We are expecting almost 3,000 people today. To have 590 people in just before 11 o'clock is a great number.
I know, going to be so many folks. Yes. So we have like one of the stations here right behind us. What are people asking about? What are you guys helping folks with today?
So we are registering people to vote, and in fact we have a first-time voter right behind us being registered right now. Congrats! Yeah.
Yay.
We're also helping people replace their ballots if they've lost them, replace their envelopes if they've lost them. And if someone has sight impairment or mobility impairment, we have devices here they can use. So those are our services: registration, replacement, and sight and mobility impairment.
All right, several hours to go in this. Everything closes and shuts down at 8 p.m. What can people expect at after 8 o'clock tonight?
So at 8 p.m. we will hit the total button, and we will produce one set of results for tonight. And that will include pretty much all the ballots we've received through Sunday.
All right.
And then, as ballots keep rolling in that are valid, we're going to keep adding to that total. So it will be probably Friday before we finish processing the vast majority of the ballots.
Right. Nothing is considered total until the 24th, correct? Because people still have to get that letter in if they had signature issues.
Yeah, if anybody has signature issues that they're seeing coming up on the ballot status online, just wait. You're going to get a letter. Follow the instructions in the letter and get it back to us by the 23rd. So, if you have an issue with your ballot status, don't come down here. That's not what this is for. Just wait for that letter, follow the instructions in the letter.
All right, absolutely. Thank you so much. And I'm wearing an I voted sticker, even though I voted several weeks ago, but this is my first time voting in a Washington state presidential election. So thank you, Vicki, and to the elections office for giving us this information. You guys helped me learn how to vote in Washington, and it's been a joy to share it with the viewers, so thanks so much. Make sure you get your ballots in by 8 p.m. And get the vote out there. Make your voices heard. Back to you guys.
Well, did you wake up with some election anxiety this morning? Well, you're not alone. According to the American Psychological Association, nearly 70% of people say elections create a significant amount of stress. The APA survey also found that 77% of people are worried about our country's future. ABC News anchor Dan Harris, who's also behind the 10% Happier book and app, recently did a series of 4 podcasts called the Election Sanity series. Harris told me in a satellite interview that elections bring the fear of uncertainty.
People feel out of control, and on top of that, they feel overwhelmed by all the information they're taking in. And then I would just add one more thing, is that there's a lot of anger and mistrust toward people in their family or people in their neighborhood with whom they may disagree. We're at this sort of uniquely divisive moment in American history, and so all of that just creates a lot of stress for people.
And if your candidates don't win, it can create even more stress after election day. So what can you do about it? The APA recommends these 4 things. Mentally preparing for delayed results, as planning ahead reduces uncertainty. Practicing stress-reducing habits like getting enough sleep and eating healthier. Taking time to unplug from news and your devices and do something nourishing like reading a book. And finding signs of hope in things that are important to you. Harris would add a 5th. He would say meditation, even for like a minute a day, can really help your stress and anxiety.
Hey, sometimes we got to do what we have to do. We have said it for months. This election is like none other in our nation that we've seen before, and we just can't cover it the same way we always have.
So we want you to know what to expect from us today and beyond. Like our country and state elections officials, we ask for patience from our own team and from you. This election will have more mail-in ballots than ever before, and states have different timelines. There's a chance we'll all go to bed tonight not knowing who will occupy the White House for the next 4 years.
As a newsroom, we will not project winners. Our job tonight is to share results and percentages of votes cast. We won't speculate. We'll get our national projections and coverage from ABC News, but even the networks say they will be more cautious with this election. Our news director wrote a piece on our website explaining our plans and coverage guidelines. You can read it now on KXLY.com. And a reminder that for your full Election Day coverage today, you won't have to look any further than 4 News Now. At 3 o'clock, we will have a special edition of 4 News Now. ABC News' election coverage begins at 4 o'clock. But we will have live updates with the latest on local races here in Eastern Washington and North Idaho.
2 more KXLY Plus newscasts will follow at 6 and 8 p.m. And then we'll wrap up the day's races at 11 p.m. on TV on 4 News Now Nightside. When we are not on air or on KXLY Plus, you can still follow along with all of our election coverage on KXLY.com as well as our social media sites.
Thanks so much for watching this special Election Day coverage streaming live on KXLY Plus.
We hope you have a safe rest of your day.